to discuss Brad Schoenfeld's recent study where he's essentially compared a powerlifting routine with a bodybuilding routine, and the context was he's trying to determine which would produce the best hypertrophy gains if volume was equated. So up until this point, if you look at a lot of the research, it's relatively limited on both training for hypertrophy. It tends to be on untrained individuals who are performing programs that don't really translate to real life, to trained individuals, people with goals of getting bigger, getting stronger, etc. So essentially 17 young individuals, all with approximately 4 years weight training experience, were assigned to two groups. One would be performing the hypertrophy training program, which was essentially 3 sets of 10, 90 seconds rest, whereas the powerlifting group were performing 7 sets of 3 minutes rest. So the interesting thing was with this study is volume was equated. So up until this point, to my knowledge, there wasn't another study comparing two different types of training where volume was actually the same. So one key thing to think about when you look at the results is the strength gains from the powerlifting group were significantly higher to the bodybuilding group. And this makes sense. Just anecdotally, you look at a powerlifting routine, their goals are getting stronger in the big key compound lifts, squat, deadlift, bench press. So essentially they can perform better at competition. So that makes sense. They're going to receive greater strength gains in comparison to the bodybuilder group. However, it's important to note the time differences between the two sessions. So obviously the trainees performing the powerlifting group, to equate volume, they were in there for significantly longer. One of the key things that came out of the study is the group in the powerlifting group were very drained, had a lot of achy pains in terms of joint soreness. Now it's important to put the study in context, okay? So this is the first study looking at both a powerlifting routine and a bodybuilding routine where volume's equated. It's important to note the sample size is relatively small. However, it's important to note how difficult it is for these studies to be performed. So sample size is more down to funding and just generally the logistics of getting lots of people to perform this type of study, especially over a longer period of time. Another problem potentially is only over 8 weeks, rather it'd be nice to get longer, but the same thing, again, it's funding, the logistics of the actual study that's going to be the problem here. Added to this, it's important to note that from the study we can see that both types of rep ranges have their benefits, so therefore there's no need to ignore one or the other. Both have their place. It's important to try and use the full spectrum of rep ranges to maximise hypertrophy. And this makes sense anecdotally. If you look at the top natural pro bodybuilders in the world, they're also exceptionally strong as well, so that makes sense there. A lot of them do a lot of the powerlifting style training, but added to that they also have sufficient volume with their accessory work. Added to this, it's important to note that despite this one study, it should always be catered to the individual. Everything should be catered to the individual. There's no reason why you can do a non-linear approach where you're having certain days you're doing strength work, certain days you're doing hypertrophy work, or you're doing a block periodization model where you're focusing on strength during one phase of training and then hypertrophy, more volume type training the next. But it's important to over a chronic period of time using all the rep ranges. So I hope you found this useful. It's worth looking at. What I'll do is I'll leave the link to the study in the description as well. Thank you very much for watching. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Like the video if you enjoyed it. Have a good day. Thank you very much.